So, what does it look like to persevere through hard things? Boy, we live in a wonderful world where we get to have good times, and at the same time, we get to have bad times. And sometimes those bad times can be really bad. And we live in a culture, especially in the United States, where it says that if you're going through a bad time, then there must be something wrong with you. And this couldn't be any further from the truth. Sometimes we just go through bad seasons, seasons of hurt and pain, and at times, and most often than not because of any fault of our own. It's just because we live a part of a lost and dying world or a fallen world. Sometimes these struggles and these hard times can lead to us having struggles in our hearts and our minds with issues of anxiety and depression and mental health issues. The circumstances that are outside of us can create struggles inside of us. So what do we do? What does it mean to persevere through difficult times? I don't know if persevere is the most appropriate term, to be honest. Because I think when we say we need to persevere, we get this idea of clenching our teeth and grinning and bear it. And if I just have enough grit to get through whatever I'm going through, I'll be able to make it to the next season of happiness. Boy, this just sounds like a horrible way to live. I think what we need to understand is the fact that when we need help, it's okay to know that we need help. When we're going through a hard time, we need to do it with people. You understand that in John chapter 10, Jesus talks about on how he's the good shepherd. And the good shepherd is going to guide us and lead us, and he's going to protect us. And ultimately, the gift that he's going to give to us is life, an abundant life. Instead of thinking about how do we persevere, may I suggest perhaps we just need to surrender? Surrender to the love of Jesus. Surrender to his healing and his guidance. In John chapter 10, it talks about on how we have a good shepherd. This good shepherd that's going to hold us and lead us and guide us. And he's going to give us life and life more abundantly. So when you're walking through a hard time, relax in the fact that you have this shepherd in Jesus Christ. He's going to hold you and care for you and give you life. As a matter of fact, I think when we're going through a hard time, finding ourselves in a place of surrender to Jesus looks like inviting him into our problems and inviting him into our struggles and being completely vulnerable with him and saying, in a place of prayer, saying, Lord, I'm not doing so great right now. My heart hurts, and it hurts because of this. Or I'm angry because of that. Listen, you can trust God with everything. He's seen it all. So find yourself in a place of surrender and prayer. Like I said, I don't think perseverance is perhaps maybe the most appropriate term. We know that it's the Lord's role to persevere us. He will persevere us and hold us through. That's a completely different discussion. But when it comes to our space, when we're walking through a hard time, I think the word perseverance just makes us feel like we need to just struggle harder and try harder and get through, when in fact, I recommend that we surrender. Finally, the other thing I want to do is continually point us to Jesus. And in Hebrews chapter 6, we see in this great letter to the early church believers in Jerusalem, these believers that are experiencing significant persecution because they were once Jews and now they're Christians following Jesus in this new way. And the writer of Hebrews, who remains a mystery to us, but this writer of Hebrews encourages people to know and trust in the fact that whatever they're going through, that because of Jesus, they have this anchor. They have this anchor in Jesus beyond the veil. And what does that mean? Well, when we're talking about the veil, we're talking about the veil that was in the temple that separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of humanity. And so, by thinking of the fact that Jesus is our anchor, we get to trust and relax in the fact that no matter what storm we may be going through, we are anchored into the very presence of God himself. I don't know about you, but that's incredibly encouraging when I think about that. Specifically when I'm going through a tough time. And I want to live a life that says I don't have to persevere. I want to live a life with a full assurance of faith and confidence, know that I am anchored into the presence of God. And because I'm anchored into his presence, I can trust him with my hurt, with my pain, with my struggle, with whatever hard time I'm walking through. particular in areas of mental health, struggling with anxiety and depression or sadness, issues of identity or confusion, issues of anger, all the things that our society is pretty much piling upon us right now, things that can create great confusion, a great sense of lostness. All that pales in comparison when we trust the fact that Jesus is our shepherd. He guides us, he protects us, he keeps us, and he wants us to have life. And if we were to look at the Hebrews, it also talks on how Jesus is our anchor. No matter what storm we're walking through, we're anchored into the very presence of God. That, to me, is what it means to surrender to his love and to surrender to his healing and to surrender to his empowerment when we're walking through a hard time.